The first man, Adam, was long dead before the construction of the Tower of Babel began. It was after humanity united together in the plain of Shinar to build it that God, on one of his rarest visitations to earth, descended from heaven to see firsthand what mankind was doing. They still had one common shared language and speech, and they used it to build the tower. Genesis 11:1. It was during this time that God confused the language of mankind from one to many and scattered mankind over the face of the earth. He also set in place spirit powers to rule over mankind in their different nations, lands, and territories. The scriptures call them sons of God, holy ones of principalities, or powers of thrones, or dominions. They were not myths. They were not metaphors. They were the first delegated spiritual rulers over man on the earth. The Most High God appointed them to oversee the nations, to guide humanity toward wisdom, justice, and the knowledge of the true God. Their authority was real, delegated, and immense. But mankind was young, immature, and childlike. God appointed spirit powers over us as guardians and tutors to groom us for God's appointed time and destiny for us to rule, not just over the works of his hands, but also over those spirit powers he appointed as our guardians and tutors. Galatians 4:13 reads this way: "What I am saying is that as long as the heir is a minor, he is no different from a slave, even though he is the legal owner of the estate. Rather, he is subject to guardians and caretakers until the time previously set by his father. So it is with us. When we were children, we were slaves to the elemental spirits of the universe." Deuteronomy chapter 32 preserves the moment of their appointment. It says, "Think about past generations. Ask your parents or any of your elders. They will tell you that God Most High gave land to every nation. He assigned a guardian angel to each of them." Deuteronomy chapter 32:7-8, CEV Contemporary English Version. The activity of spirit powers and their interaction and authority among men and kings of nations is witnessed in the book of Daniel chapter 4. They are referred to as watchers. These watchers show they have authority over Nebuchadnezzar, king of the nation of Babylon in modern-day Iraq. Because of Nebuchadnezzar's pride and arrogance against God, the watchers judged and punished Nebuchadnezzar. They removed him from his throne and caused him to become insane for a period of time. Daniel 4:1-1. We again see the activity of spirit powers later in the book of Daniel chapter 10 after he prays to God to intervene in the affairs of the nation of Israel at the end of their Babylonian captivity. Daniel's answer to prayer was delayed for 21 days because the ruling spirit power of Persia, now modern-day Iran, refused to grant God's messenger passage through his territory to deliver God's answer to Daniel. Here's Daniel's interaction with the messenger. "And, behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent." And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel. For from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Daniel chapter 10. Verses 10-13, King James Version. The nations were assigned. The rulers were enthroned. The world was ordered, and humanity was not alone. But authority is a test. And the heart of a ruler is revealed not by the throne he sits on, but by the justice of the Most High God he upholds. The spirit powers were meant to shepherd the nations. Instead, they began to shape them into a rebellious image of themselves. They influenced culture. They guided kings. They whispered through oracles and idols. They received for themselves offerings meant for the Creator. The world before the war was not peaceful. It was pregnant with tension, a cosmic hierarchy waiting to fracture. The spirit powers stood in their glory. Humanity walked in its infancy. And the highest God watched as the story of the ages prepared to unfold. Reflect on this. You were born into a world already shaped by ancient decisions, choices made by rulers you cannot see, but whose influence still echoes through culture, history, and the human heart. Yet even in the beginning, God's plan was not chaos but order, not fear but purpose. The story you are part of began long before you arrived, but its ending is written with you in mind.